Scalability is a concept that I think most developers can get behind, right? It's great if I've got my application and I can go from running that application on one server to running that application across multiple servers, providing redundancy, providing load balancing, right? The problem comes with the concept of state, right? And state, my definition of it, is information that is held between calls. And that can represent anything. It could be machine-to-machine calls. Normally, though, you think about state in reference to a user connecting up to some application. So let's say that I've got a web application, and my web application is being handled across 3 different instances, and that's great, right? And I've got a user down here, and that user maybe is buying things, a little party hat on there, and that user is connected up to the first instance that's running. Fantastic, right? And as that user works, that user is developing data that's being stored on the server side. Okay? But then let's say that maybe I don't have a very good load balancer, or don't have a sticky load balancer, or let's say that that server goes down. Well, I have resiliency, right? I've got redundancy, so they're just going to be redirected to the next server, but now they've lost all their state data, right? And that's not going to be a very good experience for the user, and in fact, can be very negative for a lot of reasons. So really what you want to be able to do in general when you think about state is you want to be able to separate the state out from the execution space of the actual application, right? And so then I can have multiple instances of my application running, and the state for that application is being held externally to the application itself. Now, in general, when you have this kind of external state management, that external state management is typically black box, and you want it to be black box to the application itself. I write my application to connect to use this external state. And in fact, if you're writing ASP.NET, and you may be aware of this with ASP.NET, you can actually configure ASP.NET to use 2 different types of external state. You've got the concept of a state server, and you also have the concept of storing your state in SQL Server. Okay. Now, there are other options as well. If you're in Azure, for example, Azure is integrated with the Redis cache. Now, if you're using something like the Redis cache, as opposed to using the option, say, of using the state server or SQL Server, where you literally don't have to re-architect the application at all, if I am using a Redis cache, then I'm not going to use the standard techniques that are available, for example, in ASP.NET for session state. Right? I'm going to modify that a little bit to communicate and work with a different external cache system that may have some benefits that are worth looking at in terms of its scalability and its availability. But these are things you absolutely have to think about when you're building an application that is designed to scale. As soon as you build an application that's designed to scale, and by the way, every application you build should be designed to scale, you have to take this concept into account. And it can be something relatively simple. For example, if you don't want to have to rewrite a lot of things, you didn't take this into account at first, but you're using, let's say, session state within an ASP.NET application, well then you could always just go ahead and convert that over to maybe an Azure SQL database, maybe a SQL server that's running in an Azure VM as you push that up and scale it. But think about this from the outset. Look at the options that you have for scaling your application, for caching the data to make a more scalable, and in many cases also actually faster application.